Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm watching The Sandman, Season 1, Episode 6.
The sound of her wings.
Because that's all we got of them.
I liked it.
So mad.
I liked it.
I love wings. It's like a thing of mine.
I suspect they're black like raven feathers.
I don't know. We can't. Who can tell? I love this show.
This episode
was so good.
Incredible.
It also was 2 episodes.
It was definitely 2 episodes. I don't really care. I thought they fit together nicely.
Sure.
Because at the beginning, the stuff with Death, beautifully played by Kirby Howell-Baptiste, who we love from tons of other stuff. Absolutely incredible. She basically, the end of her, the whole core of the thing she's talking to him about is you need to connect with human people. You are so up here and you need to get down, stop it. And
Okay, so based on the entire show, but also this episode, he does sort of seem like the worst.
I'm dreaming.
I'm like, there's a reason why your family was like, thank God we get a century of peace.
Just and meanwhile, it's literally in their existence. It's just a timeout. He's been barely gone at all. I don't know. The whole thing was just really funny. And so then to have the second half of the episode be this series of essentially just
courtship,
6 meetings of him and
Hobgoblin,
Hobgoblin, just meeting 6 times while he is kind of trying to form a connection. And then the minute that Hob is I think you're trying to form a connection, he's like, fuck you and never again.
He smashed, flipped the table, ran out crying.
You dare to tell me that I need company.
It's imagine knowing, imagine being 500 years into a friendship and being like, I think we're friends, right?
They only see each other once every 100 years.
But it was enough to keep Hob hanging on. That was relatable.
Also, the guy's real name is Ferdinand. Ferdinand Kingsley.
He was
very appealing.
Very. Of all the places that we get gay stuff, I was very surprised.
No gay stuff?
No.
Come on.
By the last, you were like, yes.
He just he fucking saunters in there, almost 40 years late. And
so knowing.
Yeah.
So cocky.
And he just is sorry, I hear that friends aren't supposed to keep each other waiting. And I was
was so happy to see.
If you guys aren't sucking dicks by the end of this interaction, I don't know what we're going to do.
It's just so relatable. You get one evening every 100 years of attention from this mysterious man. And it just who
looks like Tom Sturridge in varying levels of attractiveness wig-wise.
I've been there. Yeah. I'll go that far.
I love, too, that he was so devoted to this friendship that he bought a large amount of real estate right on the River Thames and just kept it on the off chance that he'd come back.
I found it very interesting. I didn't know where it was going. Because that's one thing that is keeping me on my toes a little bit with the show and Dream himself. They're back to calling him just Dream. I find the name thing confusing, but whatever. I don't know how familiar I can be with him. I don't know how, because when he was boasting in 1389, I was sort of like, oh, they're going to come down real hard on you and put you in your place. And then they didn't.
Yeah. And
I was waiting for the trick, and there wasn't one. It actually was just a weird experiment between Death and Dream.
I kind of love that she just was like, oh, interesting. How about this? Because I think even still back then, she was like, you need to hang out with people.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved that part of it, especially because she was like, once I realized that I'm not alone when I do my job, when I bring people away, I realized we both weren't alone. It's a symbiotic thing.
And her relationship is far more connected to them.
Yeah.
Physically and emotionally and mentally, where it's Dream, I can see how he could get high on his own supply.
Sure.
Because he's removed enough and ooga booga enough. That,
it also was just take your pedantic little brother to work day for the full first half of the episode.
It was really, really very touching and very beautiful. She brought such I'm going to say the word beautiful, but I mean it like 4 different ways.
Yeah.
Because it was, considering that maiden mother crone is like a theme of this show, she just had this energy of being like maternal, but also young and sexy, but also like kind. And I don't know. It was very, I find depictions of death to be fascinating.
So 2 things. One is that we actually forgot to mention the maiden mother crone of the end of episode 5, which was super cool because it was like the 3 women who had died in the diner, but then it was like flashing between the actual fates. And then the second thing is the only complaint, literally the only complaint I have about this episode 6, her blacks didn't match. Her shirt and her pants were 2 different colors.
They're all black.
Maybe to the layman, Jerry. Obsidian, Onyx, Midnight, Lost Soul, Rolling Blackout, Sleeping Panther, and Void by Armani. Hey, Jerry, does this look black to you too?
It was so horrible. And then both of them were a different color from what Dream was wearing. I was like...
That seems like something they could have fixed in post if they wanted to.
Yeah, maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. It was all I could see every time I looked at her.
And I love the decision to go, not ironic, but like the opposite of what you would imagine. Because it was like, again, just the entire death montage was very warm and very sunny and very breezy and very gentle. Yeah. And I did find it emotional. Like I got
Franklin. Didn't deserve that.
Oh, you were really invested.
Well, literally she looks at him and he's like, "Hey, can I get your number or whatever? I want to see you again." She goes, "Oh, you'll see me again." And then she goes, "Soon." And I was like, "He's young. He's so young." And then he got fucking hit by a car trying to play soccer, and I was like, "Well, it's a little bit on you, dude."
That was sort of it. Like I said, it was the 2 episodes. We got the introduction to her, and we got some more world shaping. It wasn't exactly world building, but it was like sort of like filling in some blanks and stuff. And then we had this montage, and I found it interesting, and I actually find it to be kind of authentic how shallow but also intense their friendship was.
Yeah.
That they were having very, and of course we're dealing in television, the language of television, so it's condensed. It's kind of like when characters go to school to class for 4 minutes and the bell rings.
Sure.
So it's like there's a suspension of disbelief, but also I sort of believe that their conversations are relatively superficial every 100 years, but also just that the ritual of it is what's sort of securing the roots, is what's sort of like grounding this. Because I mean, think about your best friends. It's like at the end of the day, you're just sort of like chilling with this person.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of just doing nothing with this person, but it's the ritual of doing nothing
that keeps you going. I also really appreciated the fact that it was like he was sort of okay at the beginning. He was like a soldier, and then 100 years later, he was still soldiering. He can't die, so he was still fighting wars and stuff. And then he got like amazing, and then he plummeted back down, and then he was like okay again. I just really liked that the whole time he was like, no, I don't want to die. There's still so much left to do.
So I'm glad we kept talking, because that touched on a handful of things. Immortality is a subject that we delve into semi-frequently because we deal with fantasy and a lot of like vampire stuff. And you're very pro immortality. I am very cautious. I'm very tepid about it.
Okay, I have a caveat, recently, a caveat that I've stumbled upon. I want immortality if I can go back and start it from before. I'd like to begin living hundreds of years ago and still be alive today. I don't think going forward it's going to be as cool as it was.
But for them, I mean, that's the gamble. That is the thing.
Yeah, but he started in 1389. If I were...
But for him, 1389 was now.
No, of course. But the way the world is going now, the way that I know the world is going, because we live in a global society now, I don't want to be immortal now. I would like to die someday.
We don't know. It's going to get good and bad and good. I mean,
maybe I'll go to space. All right, fine. I'll roll the dice.
The thing about immortality that is appealing to me is getting to see the way things evolve,
Yeah.
the way things change and
Mhm.
grow, and technology and art and all of that. And this focused on that. Like, he was very fascinated by the way that the world was changing, largely for the better, not
Yeah.
always, but largely for the better. Because I mean, he didn't even know he had the new world coming.
Yeah.
Like, he had like chocolate and apples around the corner. You know what I mean? Corn.
Salt.
Yeah.
Pepper.
Sugar. We put honey on everything. No. So I really liked that. And also the production handled this beautifully.
Mhm.
I really don't like when big, expensive productions do time travel stuff and it looks like Party City.
Sure.
Like, all the like old-timey costumes have like plastic zippers and shit.
Well,
And
the
this
good
didn't
news
have
is
that quality.
that pub is probably at least partially real and that it is that old.
But all the textiles looked relatively appropriate. We had cameos. The William Shakespeare cameo was fine. It felt a little bit like
Kit Marlowe was in there too. There was a Chaucer. It's fine.
We had Joanna, which I was expecting more. We didn't. She basically, over time, somehow a mythology emerged around this meeting.
Yeah.
Which I'll allow it.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I was sort of like, 2 dudes hanging out for 3 hours every 100 years isn't enough to establish a pattern.
Yeah, like,
Like,
who was in
remember?
the pub
Yeah.
the last time to like see
But
it happen?
they drew a picture. I'll allow it. And so she challenged them. Dream really is a bitch.
Mhm.
Because, like, Hobb was, like, ready to go to town, like, to fight for
He
him.
was throwing hands.
Yeah. And
I mean, the thing is like neither one of them needs to fight. Neither one of them can die.
yeah, but Hobb can get hurt, he said.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not, he was like, you can get hurt or imprisoned.
Mhm.
But Joanna basically had reason to believe that, like, the Jew and the devil or something like that.
The wandering Jew.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I'm not the devil. And Hobb just was like, and I'm not Jewish. And I was like,
the legend emerged that every 100 years they met, you know, on this evening. And so she wanted something from them. Magic, I guess.
yeah.
It was fine. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't entirely sure what it amounted to. And also later, like the next time Dream was like, oh yeah, I ran into her later. We made a deal. And I was like,
I wonder, I hope that that's not the last we see of her. Like, I'd like to see their actual interaction.
based on, I feel like we will.
Okay.
I feel like we will. If not this season at some
Then
point.
in the future, yeah.
Oh, well, we did have a bookend scene with Desire, who seems shiesty.
Yeah, I think Desire is villainous.
I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, we'll see.
Because they were talking to one of the other
They're-
siblings. I don't know which
Yeah.
one, but they were like,
It looked like there were
I-
7 of them.
yeah.
Okay, I thought there was 5.
Someone in one of our comments said there's also like delirium. It's
Or 2
all
we
it's
haven't-
all
yeah.
D names. But basically it seemed like because they said Dream's out of his cage. So it was like almost like Desire sort of
And
helped facilitate that.
Death apparently knew she was the original target, and
Yeah.
she wasn't worried about that.
Yeah.
And Desire's palace was wild.
Yeah, it's cool.
It was like an effigy or like you can't call a building. I don't know what. but it was
kind
like-
of an effigy. It's not an effigy.
It
Yeah.
was really cool.
Super neat.
Oh yeah, Lushing Lou. I don't know. It felt loaded. It felt like a lot of the stuff would come
Yeah,
back.
they
but
did a whole Jack the Ripper little thing.
I mostly just loved it. I just
Yeah.
sort of basked.
It's so good. This show's excellent. I'm really having a really fun time. All right, we're gonna watch episode 7. Bye.